Good afternoon. You're listening to Gambling with an Edge. Now here are your hosts, Bob Dancer and Richard Munchkin.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Gambling with an Edge. I'm Bob Dancer.
And I'm Richard Munchkin.
Our guest today is Richard and me. We are doing a mailbag show. Thank you for sending them in. Continue to do so. You can send them to gamblingwithanedge@gmail.com. You can send them to Richard or me individually on our emails. And Richard has a Twitter account at RWMunchkin21.
No, RWM21.
I was so close. Okay, first question. Since MegaBucks is one of the first bets in the house, I suspect neither of you have ever played. Am I right? And
well,
for me,
yes, you're right that I have never played.
And you're wrong about me. And first of all, there's lots of games worse than MegaBucks. MegaBucks returns about 85% at reset, somewhat higher when the progressive is very high. There are Keno games with the holds in the 25 to 30% range. Now, I've never paid to play MegaBucks, but I've played it numerous times. It happened at the Palms back when George Maloof owned it. If you were a big enough player, a couple times a week, you got 2 free pulls worth $6. Well, it would cost $6 to play. It was worth less than that. I would never make a special trip to the casino for that, but if I were in the casino anyway and the line was short, I would take my 2 pulls just in case. Sometimes they would give 6 $1 tokens. When they did, I'd keep them and every few weeks cash them in at the cage because they didn't have other machines that took them. Sometimes they would give away slot tickets. When they did, I'd keep those and insert in other machines to play. Eventually, they actually put in the slot tickets and you had to play them if you wanted. So I did. I cashed out for $30 a number of times and once for several hundred. Usually, though, I had 2 spins that returned nothing. But that's my MegaBucks experience.
You know, it actually, now that I think about it, it may be the worst bet in the house because you are forced to take the payout over 20 years. And so it's the value of whatever they say the jackpot is considerably less than what it actually is if you're forced to take it over 20 years.
Valid point. Next question. Since you guys don't have Patreon, do Bob or Richard have any charities you support that some fans could donate to show support? Richard. Well,
you know, I would just say we get this type of question occasionally, and I really appreciate it. I'm glad that I like it a lot when people send me emails about how basically how this show has helped them become successful gamblers. So, but we really want to keep the show free, even though I know there are more commercials than there used to be, and those can be annoying. But you know, the show is free and has always been free, and we'd like to keep it that way. So I don't have any particular charity that I would recommend, but I just really appreciate the sentiment.
Okay. Next question. How do APs in Vegas consider the games where progressive jackpots have reached levels that make them worth being played despite the house having an edge on the basic bet? Are there players that actively scout for such jackpots, or is it something that is only, if at all, done when the opportunity comes your way? So the situation you're describing can come in a lot of different formats. Perhaps a side bet on a table game, maybe a video poker progressive, conceivably a big number for 10 out of 10 Keno, perhaps some condition on a slot machine where the combination of the size of the green ball and the size of the orange ball make a positive play. Sometimes these things arise in the normal course of events, sometimes once every 3 months, sometimes multiple times a day. Sometimes there's a promotion where they have a rule that makes it a really special situation, but only for a short while. It could be the dealer you've never seen before flashing a hole card. You either sit down now or lose the opportunity. For me, when I discover such a situation, I look at the return and the frequency of the hits. If it's a big number for a sequential royal flush, which has a cycle of more than 2,000 or 2 million hands, I'm not going to exclusively play that game for the next umpteen years to try to collect it, even if I calculated it as being worth $200 an hour. Even a cycle of 5,000 or 10,000 hands could take many hours. If I get on this game, is my day free enough to see it through? If I have an important meeting in 3 hours, I might decide not to get on such a game, even though I'm giving up some EV. If I'm already exhausted, I'm not going to sit down on a play that might last 10 hours. But I might make a phone call. Sometimes if I tell Joe about a good play, he'll return the favor. If he doesn't, I'll call somebody else next time. How much do I like this play? I know of some slot plays that are profitable, but they can involve just hitting there and hitting the damn button for 10 hours straight. Not everybody can put up with such tedium. Usually, I'm not interested. How much does this game return worth to other games that might be out there? If I find a quarter full pay Deuces Wild game worth $10 an hour, I'm not stopping. Yes, it's positive, but I can usually find much more lucrative games than that. How much bankroll is required? Is that a number I'm comfortable risking? Do I have sufficient cash on hand with me, either available in line of credit, or I can get it by making a phone call? Sometimes the answer to this question is yes, and sometimes it's no. Do I know the strategy, or can I figure it out easily? Is my reasonable but not perfect strategy close enough that I still have a huge edge, whether or not I know every last play? There are multiple thousands of games out there. Nobody knows them all. It's possible I used to know the strategy well, but I haven't played the game in a while and no longer am up to speed. That might be good enough if the edge is big enough. It might not. Insofar as whether some people actively search for these opportunities, the answer is absolutely yes. Many such people are regular listeners to this podcast. Usually these players are not searching for only one specific thing, but they know about dozens or possibly hundreds of different games that are positive in the right circumstances. And as they walk through the casino, their eyes are open for any or all of these. When they leave the house in the morning, they often have no idea what games they'll find today. But every so often they find a good one. Some days they're pretty sure they'll visit the same machine over and over again during the course of the day. They'll play it when it's positive, and then they let the machine go and wait until some tourists build it up again. Do you have anything to add to this, Richard?
Yeah, a couple of comments. Number one, it's not just individuals. There are whole teams that go out looking for these things. And there have been teams that do this for 40 plus years, even back in the old days of mechanical reel slot machines. So it's been going on forever, and it just continues to get better because they have new types of machines where you can get an edge this way. The other thing I would say is that something that 99%, I'm pulling that number out of my ass, but the vast majority of advantage players cannot wrap around their head. And that is, in Bob's example of a play that's going to take 10 hours to hit, he's not going to sit down on it. But let's say that play is worth $200 an hour. There is nothing wrong with sitting down for 1 hour and playing it. You have still earned an hour's worth of EV. You do not have to sit there until the jackpot is hit. EV is EV. So if you want to play for an hour, you can play for an hour and still earn your EV.
And I'm going to push back on that a little bit. So in many games like a video poker progressive, what Richard said is absolutely true. That you don't know when that progressive is going to hit, and you have the EV on every hand you play. But there are some slot progressives where you know it's going to take a number of hours, and a significant part of it is going to be at the end. And you have to be there at the end to get the significant part of it. And there's virtually no chance of collecting that if you only play for an hour. So in that case, EV is not EV. You have to finish the play in order to get on it. I can't.
I'm only aware of one. Yeah, I'm only aware of one set of machines where that's true, where the distribution of the jackpot is all skewed at the end. But as you say, in the example of, say, a video poker jackpot, it's not skewed, right? Each spin has the same chance of hitting the jackpot.
Correct. In slots, it's very frequently skewed. And you know from history, when you're at this level, it's going to take this long to finish it. And you can peg that within a couple hours. Is it possible to finish it in a half hour? Technically, yes, but we're talking about a real low probability, and so it is skewed. All right, let's move on. I recently had a spirited debate with a fellow video poker player. He primarily plays double bonus. I play double bonus. I told him I believe the frequency of any four of a kinds is more in the player's favor on my game, double bonus, than his game, double bonus. The volatility of level is much higher in double bonus, depending on his larger hits. But in essence, I told him that he pays for his kickers in the long run, whereas I do not, along with higher bankroll requirements. Am I right? Okay. In general, the difference between double bonus and double bonus has to do with four of a kinds and a kicker. In double bonus, 4 aces always pay 800 coins. In double, they pay 800 usually, but if the fifth card is a 2, 3, or 4, it pays 2,000. Similarly, with 2, 3s, and 4s, the fifth card counts in double. It does not count in double. Double makes up for this by higher returns on the full house, flush, and straight. Okay, what this particular questioner didn't mention was pay schedules. Both games come in a variety of pay schedules ranging from 93% to over 100%. To me, this single most important aspect of the game. Either of these versions in the 99.5% version is going to be better than the other one in the 96% version. Now, assuming we're talking about similar returns, say 9-7 double bonus returning 99.1, and with a variance at 28.5, and 9-6 double returning 98.0 with a variance of 42. Some people are better at variance than others. It does make the game more exciting, so you can both be making a good choice for yourself depending on your tolerance for excitement. This particular double bonus games pays more for flushes and straights than the double bonus goes, but it does not get bonus for the kickers, as I said earlier. These things pretty much offset each other percentage-wise, which I think was the point of the original poster. The double bonus game is much more difficult to play than double. For example, you hold flush kickers, such as with an ace, king, queen, 5 of hearts rather You hold all 4 hearts in double bonus, but you just hold ace, king, queen in double double. This means you'll get 20% fewer royals in double bonus than you will in double double, because holding the 5 of hearts prevents you from getting any royal on this hand. If you fail to hold the 5 because you're a recreational player and the reason you come to the casino today is to get a royal, you're giving up a lot of EV, and that would make double double bonus the right choice. You mentioned 4 of a kinds in particular. They happen more in double double bonus than they do in double bonus for 2 reasons. One, aces up, such as ace, ace, 5, 5, 4. You hold the aces in double double bonus, leading to quads 1 time in 360. In double bonus, with the right pay schedule, sometimes you hold ace, ace, 5, 5, leading to quads 0 times in 360. On a hand like 2, 2, 3, 4, 5 of mixed suits, 1 game you hold just the deuces, 1 game you hold the straight. There are other hands, but many hands are played differently in the games. Overall, the quads come up more frequently in double double bonus than in double bonus. Do you have any comment on this, Richard?
No.
Yeah, I suspect that was a Bob question. Let's give a Richard question. Somebody's saying he's just starting. He wants to get back into card counting. Which book should he read?
You know, for many, many years, I recommended Black Belt in Blackjack by Arnold Snyder as the book I recommended for beginners to start with. But now I am a big fan of KO. And so I would recommend Knockout Blackjack. And the other book that I really like a lot is Blackjack Blueprint by Rick Blaine. Now that the reason I like it is it's not just a textbook; it also has a lot of stories in it, so it's a much more fun read. And I would also recommend 21st Century Card Counter, Colin Jones' book. That's another one that has a lot of stories in it.
Yeah, and the Colin Jones has more stories in it and less actual strategy points. So one key factor is don't plan to just read one book. You'll get different.
Yeah, read everything you can find.
You'll find different points of value in each of the books. Next question. If you're playing at a table or in a tournament or what have you, and you know another person at the table might be an AP, how can you broach the subject of I'm an AP or you won too? I know in most cases many APs would not want to be outed, but many friendship and partnerships have started at the tables. So Richard, what do you recommend on this?
Well, that's very true that many friendships and partnerships have started that way. You do not want to do it at the table. The way most often I hear about it happening, or it happened with me and things like that, is you kind of try to follow the person either into the bathroom or better is outside the casino. Because in the bathroom, you never know who might be inside a stall. But you know, many friends have had this experience of following somebody out or being followed out and saying, hey, once you get out the door. So that's the way I would approach it. I would not try to do anything or say anything at the table that might be cute or secret code or any of that kind of stuff. Just wait till you're safely outside.
So how many female APs have you followed into the bathroom, Richard?
Yeah.
Next question. While video poker vulturing I'm generally not worried about casino heat, but I want to remain under the radar. I've had more than a few folks ask me what I was doing or otherwise react, mostly inquisitively, to my type of play. Anytime I have had a negative comment, I've left that area or the casino. What are your overall recommendations for proper video poker vulturing etiquette? Also, do you have any suggestions on the best way to handle bumping into another vulture? My default reaction is to leave the bank for them and strive not to play next to them. Do you have any other thoughts? Yeah, lots of thoughts. First of all, to vulture, you generally need to check the machines. Occasionally, you can see everything you need to see just by walking by. But some of these machines have many, many dozens of games on them in different denominations, game types, number of hands, etc. And you have to look at these one at a time. It takes time to do this, and it's pretty obvious. You might be specializing in video poker games, but their same players are often checking slot machines for advantage plays as well. There are a lot more slot machines types that are vulturable than video poker types. How many other vultures you're going to run into depends on where you are. In Las Vegas, multiple vultures are in most casinos at any given time. How many depends on how many machines are affected. In areas where you have to drive miles between casinos, vultures are less common. All that driving is a cost of doing business, and it might be a showstopper. Your approach of avoiding contact and conflict with others will help you last longer. In many places, there are so many vultures, it's impossible to avoid all contact. Always letting somebody else get the games instead of you helps your longevity, but it definitely lowers your EV compared to being a bit more aggressive. You're going to have to find your own balance.
I would just add that if people are making comments to you about it, that's not a good sign. And one thing I would recommend is don't do what I call playing the piano. Don't just walk up to the machine and keep punching the buttons, going through screen after screen after screen. It might take longer, but sit down, put a ticket in the machine, and look like you're actually a player. And then go through the screens and, you know, at least try to look like a player, not like a vulture.
Yeah, and it can be hard. There are some games where there are truly 100 different combinations on that machine to look at. And it's going to take you a while. And slowing down, looking like a player, it'll take you twice as long. This person also said he wasn't concerned about heat from a casino.
Yeah,
That's you might be kidding yourself. In general, casinos are not big fans of vultures. Vultures are players who, if they know what they're doing, basically the casino has no chance to get their money. Long run, a vulture can lose today, certainly, but the vultures have big edges on the house. And casinos are not fans of players with big edges on the house. So some casinos are more aggressive about removing vultures than others. Some it has to do with their overall profitability. When things start getting tight and they start losing, they will come down heavier on vultures. And if you're easily recognizable as such, they will come down on you. Next question is, A blackjack question. I play blackjack at my local place, usually $25 a hand, flat bet for 3 or 4 hours a day, just for recreation, once or twice a month. Sometimes I play $100 a hand in the high limit room. I seem to get free hotel nights during the week, discounts on the weekend, and used to get concert tickets. Do I have the right formula for house edge, which would be $25 a hand times 60 hands, an hour times 4 hours equals $6,000 coin in, times a 0.7 house advantage equals $42. If that's correct, it seems I've gotten a lot more cash value from the comps than I should be getting at this level of play. Any thoughts? I just play with cash, but would getting casino credit for this level of play, maybe $10,000, do anything regarding comps? Richard, I'll let you take it first.
Yeah, so a couple of things. Yes, you have it basically right, and I have some suggestions for you. First of all, yes, the credit would help because they will actually be able to track how much money you've bought in. Often bosses, when they get busy, they miss buy-ins, so you're not getting credit for all the money that you've actually bought in. Second, make sure that you study and know basic strategy perfectly. So that 0.7 could be less depending on the rules of the game, or it could be more if you're making errors. So really study that basic strategy, make sure you have it right. And then the most important thing is, because you're just playing for the comps, you can do a couple of things. Number one, when you first sit down to play and the boss comes over to fill out the rating card, bet $100 for the first few hands while he's standing there and he's writing down how much your bet is. Then once he walks away, now drop down to 25 and keep it there. And later, if he comes back to the table, bring it back up to 100. So this will have the effect of raising your average bet. Unless the boss is really, a hall monitor who's really keeping track of how much everybody's betting. Most of them just want the easiest thing, write it down in the beginning and forget about it. So number one, you want them to think your average bet is more than it is, because that will transfer to more comps. And then the other thing is, you want to play at full tables with players that are playing as slowly as possible. You can get that 60 hands an hour down to, considerably less. Take your time making your decisions, slow the game down as much as possible, take bathroom breaks during the middle of your play to just not play at all. So those two things will up your comp game. And if you haven't already, definitely pick up the book Comp City by Max Rubin.
Good. Couple things Richard didn't mention is a hotel room is a soft comp, meaning that if they have vacancies, it costs very, very little to give a room comp. So even if the face value on the room is $100 a night, it doesn't cost them anywhere near that to let you have it. Concert tickets can be the same depending on whether or not the venue is full and how the revenue is split. So it's possible you're not going to be, you're not overcomped on what their actual expenses are. Now, since you're mainly flat betting, basically you're never going to get thrown out. So enjoy the comps they give you and don't worry about whether they're overcomping you or not. Next question. Given the same pay table, what number of video poker lines do I prefer? Do you, presumably Bob Dancer, prefer to play? Single line, 100 play, somewhere in the middle, and why? For a dollar player, single line is $5 a hand. 100 play is $500 a play. The choice between $5 and $500 per play is not one most players are considering. No player basically goes back and forth between those two easily. But if you look at a $5 total bet, so it would be dollar single line versus 100 play pennies. It's also a $5 bet. These are more apt comparison. You say it's the same pay schedule. That's assuming away most of the problem. It's rare to find this, but we always can assume. You also don't mention the slot club. Do both machines have the same theoretical? That can affect things. Just because you can assume things are equal doesn't mean they actually are in the casino. You have to check it out. And there is a speed of play factor. It is much faster in most places to play a single line game than it is to play a 100 play game where the same total bet. If you're playing with an edge, the more hands you can get in, the better. Personally, if everything is equal, it rarely is, the more lines, the better. More lines are more fun, and the variance is much lower. Next question. How common is it for video poker players to be banned? Is there something a player can do to avoid this? Okay. Winning players in all casino games get banned after a while. Any game. That's a fact of life. The exact frequency of this varies by city, casino, denomination, a bunch of other things, including how much are you winning. If you don't want to be banned, make sure you never win. That's the secret. Losing players are welcomed. They send limousines to come get them. Also, some activities such as Ultimate X Vulturing are more likely to get you banned than playing regular video poker. Many video poker players have been banned for playing on multiple cards. If caught, many casinos consider this to be fraud, and they're correct. Some just kick you out. A few have initiated legal proceedings against these players. Some players get kicked out for doing too well in drawings repeatedly, presumably by having more tickets in the drum than most of the other players. The casino itself doesn't care for the most part who wins the drawings. But if they start getting complaints from their good customers, that is, losing players, that this same guy keeps winning all the drawings and it's just no fair, eventually the casino will make a decision that you won't like. So don't let it come to that. If you win at a drawing, stay away for the next 2 or 3 drawings, at least, maybe longer if it's a big win. It's okay to win 2 or 3 times a year. Winning every week is not a smart move. Next question. I'm a recreational player, but have a business trip bringing me to the Reno area. Can you recommend a nicer casino to play in and the best sports book? I will likely make several season-long bets and future bets as I live in the Southeast and will mail back the tickets later in the year. Lastly, do you have a favorite restaurant? There are so many reasons to choose a casino. How price sensitive are you? Are you with somebody who has other requirements such as bowling or spa or shopping or proximity to other casinos, nearness to nightlife, those kind of things? With all that said, you said you wanted a nice place. There's a brand new high-end casino in Sparks called Legends Bay. Sparks is a few miles east of downtown Reno. Their sports book is definitely high-end and is run by Circa. You asked about restaurants, but didn't say if that question related to the Reno trip or not. I'm positive Legends Bay opened up with several nice places to eat, but I haven't tried any of them yet. Richard, do you have any Reno recommendations?
Well, yeah, I mean, that sounds like the nicest place in Reno. I haven't been to it. I haven't been to Reno in quite a while. Places to eat, though, I always also like the Oyster Bar in the Atlantis. So you might want to check that out during your trip.
Yeah, and the Atlantis is an older casino, but it's still pretty nice. Insofar as video poker go, they have much better than average video poker, and they do have amenities there. So, okay. Next question. I'm playing $25 9-6 jacks or better, single line, $125 a hand, with a $100,000 bankroll. For the sake of argument, let's assume I'm playing perfectly. What is my risk of ruin? All right. Your risk of ruin is 100% under the conditions you outline. 9-6 jacks or better only pays 99.54%, and without a slot club, promotions, mailers, usable comps, the house has the edge. Now, if you're going to play only 50 hands, well, you're not going to go broke in that length of time, but you didn't specify any of that. If you do get benefits from the casino, then they have to be entered into the equation. Good software can do this consultation for most of the different scenarios of the game you can think of, including slot clubs, skill level, etc. So the best software viable now is Dunbar's Video Poker Risk Analyzer. It's based on Excel macros. It'll set you back $20 if you buy it at the LasVegasAdvisor.com. All right, we are going to take a brief commercial break, and then we're going to go back, and we're going to give Richard some questions. The South Point has more than 10,000 games returning at least 99%. This is more such games than anyone else has. To celebrate the upcoming South Point 400 NASCAR event, the September promotion is Earning City Lights Moonshine. You can earn up to 3 bottles weekly, Sunday through Saturday, excluding the days of September 18th to 20th, by earning 1,200 points on video poker or slots. You keep the points. The flavors this year are bar candy, key lime, lychee, orange, original, and plum.
If you're serious about card counting, the Blackjack Apprenticeship membership is a great way to learn, train, network, and get the resources you need to succeed. We've had quite a few guests on Gambling with an Edge who exclusively trained and got their start through Blackjack Apprenticeship. Check out their website at blackjackapprenticeship.com. They have member forums, training software, and guides to help you learn. That's blackjackapprenticeship.com. You will find a link in the show notes.
Videopoker.com is the best place to play lots of games. If you sign up for the gold membership, $8.95 a month or $79.95 a year, this allows you to get correction on most of the game. The game of the week is Face Card Frenzy. You may play this game anywhere from 6 coins per line to 10 coins, with the odds increasing as you increase your bet. In this game, full houses and quads involving jacks, queens, kings, and aces return a lot more than usual. To make the math work, all pay schedule categories are bumped up, meaning that you'll need to learn an entirely new strategy to play this game.
If you're interested in getting an edge at sports betting, then unabated.com is a great resource for you. Founded by frequent Gambling with an Edge guests Captain Jack Andrews and Rufus Peabody, unabated.com is designed for both new and experienced sports bettors. Their real-time odds screen, tools, and calculators take a lot of the guesswork out of trying to quantify your edge. There's also plenty of free education and instruction to help you along your journey to becoming a sharper sports bettor. You can currently take advantage of a 7-day free trial to decide if premium membership at unabated.com is right for you.
All right, we are back to our questions. I'm starting to get trespassed at places. Is it ever okay to go back to a place that trespassed you? Do casinos actually follow through on their threats to prosecute you? If I have a legal name change and go back to a casino that trespassed me under my old name, is that probably going to be enough to dissuade them from having me arrested and instead just reissue a trespass in my new name? It all seems like a lot of risk, especially to be arrested when carrying a large sum of money on me. Thankfully, most places don't trespass. Now that brings up another question. Why don't more places trespass? Seems like a simple way to stop APs. Ha ha ha. So, Richard.
Well, yeah, the ha ha ha. I mean, obviously it doesn't stop APs. It just all depends on the casino. They're all different. It's hard to figure out what one will do and what one won't. Some places will try to arrest you. Some places will just tell you to leave again. Changing your name. First of all, why do they have your name? But changing your name isn't going to help. Most APs, they stay away for a year or something before going back. And then, do not show them an ID or give them your name or whatever. So, yeah, it's just part of the business.
Next question. I'm just about to start my first beard account for sports betting, and I'm wondering if it is suggested to use a bank account that is in my beard's name rather than my name. My concern is that I've been marked as a sharp and consequently limited at the books that I'm going to open a bearded account at. Do they have my banking information too? Will they know that my beard is my beard if I fund the bearded sports accounts from bank accounts with my name on them? Could I get away with a bank account in my name but a different account number than what I originally used? If they do have that information from my originally used bank account. I'm assuming we're talking about online here, where you're doing some kind of a wire transfer from a bank account into the sports book. Richard, do you have a comment on this?
Well, yeah, the big unknown here is what kind of sports book are you talking about? So, but definitely, no, you can't use a bank account in your name to fund their account. That's just sort of handing them the fact that the guy's your beard. If this is an offshore, then absolutely you want to use Bitcoin. That is the whole beauty of Bitcoin, is you can send money really cheaply and anonymously. So now, if this is a legal book in the state that you're in, often the best thing to do is go into the casino and just put the money in the account by cash. But you're going to need the beard with you to do that. So, but if that's not an option, then yes, let's see, can I say this in the past that I've done this? I don't know. But if it were me, I would set up a bank account in their name and send the money through their account.
And you need to trust your beard a lot in order to do this.
Yes. Yeah.
Because somehow...
well, although I would say that I had situations where we set up an account for the beard, but basically I controlled the account. They didn't. Now, it's true the account is still in their name, but it takes some of that out. But there are also the tax issues. I mean, if you bet a lot of money, there's money that's going to be passing through your beard's account, and there can be tax implications, and that can be a problem. it's not fun dealing with all that.
Okay, next question. I heard you or someone talking about traveling to states that are starting sports betting and taking advantage of the new sign-up bonuses. How much and what kind of sign-up bonuses are worth it, and how do you bet them? What are the kind of sign-up bonuses a bettor should be looking out for? I see in Kansas they now have some $100 free bets, and another is a $1,000 free bet. You get your money back and a free bet if you lose your first bet. So I recommend you listen to the last 2 episodes of Gambling with an Edge when we had Captain Jack Andrews as our guest. One was 2 weeks ago on September 1st, where he's mentioning that states have really cut back. A year ago, they were giving away $1,000 and $5,000 bonuses all over the place. Now they're giving away $100 bonuses. So on the website, unabated, there are several articles written, some by Captain Jack and some by other people, of the best ways to bet the free bets. Whether or not unabated has, they still have free content, and I suspect this is in the free area, although I don't know for sure. But if you're going to be doing this, it's worth signing up for at least a short subscription in order to get this information. A year ago, before the start of the football season in 2021, Captain Jack gave a more complete answer of how to take advantage of those bets that were in effect then, but just keep in mind they have really been reduced in the last year. Next question. My question refers to W2G forms. I'm a strict table game player and have never played slots or video poker enough to ever receive a hand pay. Am I correct in understanding the W2G form is a notification of your win of $1,200 or more to the IRS, and that win is counted as income for the year and you'll have to pay taxes on it? I watch YouTube clips of people playing at very high levels, slots and video poker, hundreds of dollars a spin, where a very high number of wins result in hand pay and the W2G that comes along with it. If you had to pay 20% or more from those winnings to Uncle Sam, wouldn't that reduce the amount of your winnings and the expected value? I'm sorry if I'm way off base on this, or if it's been covered. It's very confusing to me. Okay. You're basically correct on your definition of what a W2G is. $1,200 or higher on slots and video poker. There are other numbers for different gambling games. There are a few caveats, though. People who file as professional gamblers can write off their losses against their winnings. In this case, you only pay taxes on your net winnings, if any. People who do not file as professional gamblers cannot write off their gambling losses. Also, the biggest people on YouTube who post these gambling winnings are getting bunches of affiliate money. Affiliate money means they're sponsored by places, and if you go into some kind of online casino or sportsbook or something and you put in their name as the code, these affiliates get lots and lots and lots of money. And they make so much more in affiliate money than they ever lose on the games. If taxes would reduce their win, but if they've planned it right and they're big enough, the affiliate money overwhelms what they'd have to pay in taxes.
I'm a little bit confused by all this, but the last time Russell Fox was on, he said that even non-professionals can write off their losses up to the amount of their wins, but it goes on a separate line on the form. So now, because these guys are playing with a big negative EV, they're going to have more losses than wins, and so they're not going to be paying taxes on all those W-2Gs, but they are making a lot of money as affiliates. So, but the whole thing is kind of confusing to me.
Yes. Okay, here's a blackjack question. I've counted cards for years against the MD2 and MD3 batch shuffle master machines. I know these machines claim to have a random shuffle, but are also able to read and sort the cards to see if they're missing. I have never experienced a problem counting down a shoe in the past with these machines. Everything seems random and up to par. Recently, I started playing at a large tribal casino that is almost exclusively CSM, continuous shuffling machines, except for 1 or 2 green chip tables. I played 4 sessions at this casino, approximately 3 to 4 hours each. The count has stayed neutral to negative 95% of the time, with my highest running count only going to 7 or 9 once or twice. I'm finding this very odd, as I've never had a stretch that bad. It could be a run of bad luck, but in the back of my mind, I'm wondering somehow if they have programmed these machines unfavorably. Would it be possible the casino has this machine programmed to shuffle the high and low cards mixed in such a way that the count would never get high coming out of a shoe? Have you ever heard of this happening before? Richard.
It's just random. No, the casino cannot program the machine to do that. And if they did want to program the machine to cheat, wouldn't they program it so that the high cards were behind the cut card and you always would be playing with a disadvantage? I mean, if the shoe always ends negative, you've been playing with an edge through the shoe, right? Because more 10s and aces came to you that you just didn't know in order to bet more. But anyway, no, the machines cannot do that. It's just, what Nassim Taleb calls fooled by randomness. Your brain looks for patterns and tries to ascribe meaning to them, but it's just random.
Next question is about Ultimate X. It's well known for presenting an edge to the player when found with unused next hand multipliers. I've heard from several APs that when they find next hand multipliers, they should only bet 5 units per line as opposed to the full 10. Logically, this does not make sense to me. To me, it seems that if the game presented an edge, you'd want to bet the full 10 to double your EV on the hand, as well as have the opportunity for winning hand and a multiplier the next hand. I'm new to video poker, so I must be missing a fundamental fact about playing the game. What's the reasoning for betting 5 units rather than 10 when taking advantage of leftover multipliers? Well, the first 5 coins give you full value for betting this particular play. Those 5 coins only go to the value of this play. Betting 10 has nothing to do with the play on the current hand. Betting the 10 only has to do with collecting multipliers on the next hand. So if you're not going to be playing a next hand, you definitely want to be playing 5 coins instead of 10. Now, this strategy works on the original Ultimate X, but on a game like Ultimate X Bonus Streak, Ultimate X Gold, Ultimate X Spin Poker, and others, the strategy doesn't work so well. The next question concerns MegaBucks. I'm going to have to guess at this answer because I'm not positive, but I think I'm right. When a player hits the grand jackpot, do all the link machines automatically freeze and get locked? Or do these symbols keep working, and if somebody else hits all 3 MegaBucks symbols, say a few seconds after the first player has hit the huge jackpot, does that second player, would they get the money at the game reset, or would they get the big jackpot amount? I realize this would be a highly unusual situation, but things like this greatly interest me. Well, only one person is going to get paid. Several casinos have a promotion, such as if you're actively playing MegaBucks and somebody else hits it here at our casino, you will receive such and such amount of free play. It's a good promotion for the casino if it gets people to play more. It's a 15% house edge game divided somehow between the casino and IGT, which is responsible for the biggest jackpot. I spoke earlier about my experience playing MegaBucks at the Palms. Last question. It's an off-topic question, but I mentioned in my autobiography, Video Poker for Winners, that I attended some pretty spectacular events at the MGM in the late 90s, such as the ESPY Awards. Do I have any stories from any of the huge events as Tyson fights that I got to attend? Were you at the infamous fight when Tyson bit Holyfield's ear twice? And my answer is I'm not a fight fan. I did receive tickets for many of the fights, but always let somebody else use them. They crack down pretty good if you're trying to sell them on the day of the fight near the fight venue. So I always sold early, under market price, and didn't have to hassle. Possibly I could have earned more in other ways, but I didn't enjoy the process of haggling with strangers I didn't know that I could trust, and I didn't know if the cops were going to arrest me. I got enough of these tickets, I did just fine. My guy would take all I could provide at 50% face value, and the guy who bought these tickets did fine too by doing some of the things that I didn't want to do. For a while in 1999 and 2000, the MGM was giving 3% comps on 9-6 jacks or better, which is a game that starts out at 99.5%. And it had a slot club that at its max was worth more than 0.8. Oh God, those were the days. To get the max comps, you had to play at least $1 million coin in a month, which I did on both my card and my wife's at the time, Shirley's card. That's at least $60,000 a month in comps, sometimes double that. I could get 10 free fight tickets to any fight, or 8 tickets to a Paul McCartney or other A-list show tickets, or 12 tickets to the ESPYs the year they had them there, or a variety of other things, often multiple times a month. Use the comps so they go away. So we used them and recycled most of them.
Boy, I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah, the only other thing is the specific. I attended one fight, and it was a Mike Tyson fight, but it was not the ear fight. Yes, so you were saying.
So during that time, it was also a boon for blackjack players. Every blackjack team in the world was there. I had a friend fly in from Hong Kong and Australia, and I mean, everybody was there on those fight weekends. Now, I took a different approach, and I sold my fight tickets to a broker, and I would get usually double face value. And, that one where the ear got bit off, I got $10,000 just for my fight tickets. So, those were great times for all the blackjack players. And often, I mean, the bad thing was there were often spotters from 2 different teams back counting the same table. So it was very competitive.
Yes, I suspect Richard and I were in the MGM at the same time, but in different places, and unlikely to run into each other.
And the one where he bit the ear, wasn't that the one where the riot happened, where the gunshot went off and people flipped over tables and they had to close the casino down? It was a crazy time.
Could be. I think that was a Tupac Shakur. Is that who got shot?
No. What happened was the official story the next day was that it was not a gunshot, but a champagne bottle opening. And people heard the shot and just started running and tipped over blackjack tables, and they had to shut the whole casino down. And there was a hold on all the casino chips. And there was some famous basketball player that got caught on video basically stealing chips off the floor after the table got turned over, because it was just a crazy melee in there.
Oh, well. I missed that. And since the casino would recognize me on video and were looking for a reason to get me out of there anyway, that would not have been a smart play for me. So thank you, Richard. We have a few questions left, but not nearly enough for another show. So keep your questions coming in at gamblingwithanedge@gmail.com. Respond to our blogs at the end of the postings of our videos, or send us an email, or Richard's Twitter, which he's now shortened to @RWM21. Thank you very much. Go out and hit lots of royals, everybody. Good day.